I have an interesting guest today. I think you'll enjoy the conversation. It's a different kind of guest. Mikhail, I'll see if I can get the name right, Kryzhanovsky, I think. Mike, are you there?
Yes. Yeah, you can call me Michael because, the name is pretty difficult to pronounce, but it's a Polish-Ukrainian one. It stands for Kryzhanovsky. But you can call me Michael. It's all right.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking some time with us today. I got a report over the weekend of yours that claims that the KGB and the CIA is in charge of who becomes the president here in America.
Yes, we can talk about this. I'd like to introduce maybe myself, just a few words, and I want to thank you for the possibility to talk to America.
Tell us where you were born, what kind of a life you had as a younger man, and what events helped to shape and mold who you are.
All right. I was born in Ukraine in 1958 in a small town. My father was a deputy mayor. My mother worked at the bank. I graduated the state university, languages and psychology. Also graduated military college at the university. So I just got lieutenant rank in artillery and missile. Then I joined KGB. I was invited at KGB, but before that, I joined them as a secret source and as asset. So actually, I'm in counter-espionage and espionage since 1977. So in 1977, I was recruited being a student of university by counter-espionage department, KGB department, and I worked against Canadian Royal Mounted Police, which were sending the nationalist organizations of Canada, Ukrainian nationalist organizations of Canada, couriers to Ukraine, illegal couriers who were delivering illegal literature, anti-Soviet stuff. So it was my beginning of career, actually.
Well, Mike, let me ask you a question. In your earlier years, what did you think you would do with your life? What kind of job did you plan to have when you grew up someday?
Actually, I was interested in politics because my father was a deputy mayor. It was a pretty small town, but he was very active. Though he was a communist, it was a totalitarian state. You cannot show much initiative, but he was very active in local politics, and he wanted to make a career, actually, up to Moscow. But, there were some circumstances that did not allow him to do that. So since I was 6, I was reading books by Russian political scientists.
Were these books that you were supposed to read because your dad gave them to you, or were these books that you really wanted to read?
Yeah, I really wanted it, but we have a huge library, and I wanted to read this. I was very interested how people at the very top, how people have power, they rule these millions and millions of people. What's the mechanism? Like a small kid. The small kid always wants to get inside the toy. What's inside? So that was about me. And I had, Soviet political science was pure 99% ideology, but 1% of actual facts and analysis. And I was reading the books about Rockefeller family, big guys, oil guys from Texas, some unusual stuff, JFK, biography and the assassination. And so since I was a kid, I was interested in this. But I couldn't imagine that I would be working for the political tool of Soviet power, which was KGB, not just...
See, I think that's rather interesting. Here in America, there are many young men who we look forward to becoming a football player someday, or a basketball player someday, or maybe a fireman, right, or a policeman. I think it's rather unusual that even at the ripe young age of 6 that you were very interested in the workings of politics.
Yes, you know, I don't know. You have to be born. We talked with you a little bit earlier, a couple of words, and you said that people think here once CIA or once KGB, you are always KGB. But I think it's not true. You have to be born with this, you know. It's just a talent. Like, you know, to be a politician, it's a huge talent too. It's not only a talent of communication. You have to be born a very open person. By the way, Obama was born a very open person. That's why I know he was successful at the elections. And you know, you must be born this. Like people think that you can become a politician because it's luck, it's connections, sponsors, money. No, you have to be born. You have to be something inside. Like you saw Anne Graceman last year, America Got Talent. You know, 11-year-old girl who was singing since she was 2. It was deep inside, and just you have to be born with this. And it's very wrong. It's very wrong that the United States presidents, they are not trained by some special school or academy, which invites the students who want to be the top of political power. I know that such an academy or institution does not exist in the United States, and it's wrong. It has to be. That's why I wrote later. I wrote the White House Special Handbook, which was published in New York, 2007, and I suppose maybe it's going to be a start for such a school for politicians or for young people, for students at the universities who want to be at the top of political power.
Well, it caught my attention, this new report of yours called KGB Operation Barack Obama. From other interviews, Mike, that I have done, I have seen that Barack Hussein Obama has been groomed by communists to become a president here in America for at least 20 or 25 years. He has been groomed for such a thing.
You know, maybe first, before we talk about this, maybe, you know, just a few words about, because it's actually, there's a huge issue here. We are talking here, if you allow me to talk a few words about national security problem of America.
Oh, certainly.
Yes, the thing is, and the Americans have to understand this, that yes, right now, no, Bill Clinton once said, it's all about economy, stupid. You remember this. But actually, the president's job, which is responsible, his top priority, is national security. Even now, in the middle of huge financial crisis, jobs. Yes, I understand, but the presidential priority is national security, protection of the nation. The thing is, there is a huge problem with national security in the United States for a long time, because America is helpless, deaf, blind. The most important intelligence agency of the United States, which is Central Intelligence Agency, does not exist. And I can prove it. You asked me about my biography. It's all connected. The thing is, when I came to America, just to finish with my biography a little bit, when I came to America...
What year did you come to America, Mike?
I came to America in 1995.
Why did you come to America? Why did you come here?
Yeah, I explained this. The problem is, I graduated 2 KGB educational institutes. First was Counter-Espionage School, and the second was Intelligence Institute in Moscow. Then in 1991, Soviet Union collapsed. KGB actually collapsed too. I joined Ukrainian security service. And I was as Ukrainian intelligence officer before I was KGB intelligence officer. As Ukrainian intelligence officer, I was involved in a big operation against Russian President Yeltsin in 1991-1992. I was working as illegal spy in Moscow, trying to penetrate his inner circle, trying to penetrate Kremlin. Yeltsin was considered in 1991-1992 the biggest enemy of independent Ukraine. After the Soviet Union collapsed, 15 independent republics appeared. So Yeltsin was strongly against the president of huge. Russia was strongly against Ukrainian independence, because Ukraine, if you look at the map, is the entrance to the Europe. So the Russian gas goes mainly through Ukraine, because Russia has no straight access to Europe, so Russian gas goes straight to Ukraine, to Europe. That's why Yeltsin was strongly against independence, and there was a decision by Ukrainian President Kravchuk to do something about it, to influence his decisions. I was also, besides I was intelligence officer, I was a sniper and KGB Nabat, which is the BEL, anti-terror special group. So if ordered, I could even kill Yeltsin in Moscow, if ordered by a Ukrainian president. I knew perfectly well how the system works, how his security team works, so it was not a big deal. So the operation was in progress. I penetrated the Russian parliament. I was ready to penetrate Kremlin and be close to Yeltsin. His personal photographer was my close friend. So operation was in progress, but then there was a leak. Yeltsin got information about the operation, and in June 1992, Russia and Ukraine signed a treaty to stop mutual espionage. I was fired, and Kravchuk, I got the information through my former friends at Ukrainian Security Service, that Ukrainian President Kravchuk ordered to terminate me as a witness of his dirty politics. So I moved to Poland, and then I managed to move to the United States. I came here in 1995. Actually, the idea was just to think what to do next with my life.
Did you ever think, Mike, that you would come to America?
To tell you the truth, who I was. I was working against America. As KGB officer, I was working for the American Regional Intelligence Department against America, working
as
with...
a KGB officer, but also as a communist, you're working against America.
Yeah, but the American people have to understand very important thing about Soviet and now Russian special services, but mostly Soviet. We talk about Soviet. Yes, I was a communist, but the problem is, to be a communist was a very special requirement. Otherwise, you are not hired. You understand? So it goes together. You want to work for KGB as KGB officer, a handler of the secret sources. You have to join the Communist Party. I was not a communist leader, so I was not involved in politics, of the state, the parties of the government. It just was, it was a requirement. And when Soviet Union collapsed, the Communist Party, disappeared from political map, and I was just intelligence officer. I joined Ukrainian service. So it's not a big deal at all. And if you think, it's something big, ideology, in this world, in espionage and counter-espionage world, ideology is not very important, It's important whether you are a patriot of your country, and you are communist, you are liberal, whatever, Republican.
See, in the Ukraine, you were a patriot in your country.
Yes, to tell you the truth, I was a patriot, and it's not like, patriotism is very, is very difficult thing to explain, whether it's the country, your neighbors, your friends, your mother. Yes, I was born there, and it's not like I'm a huge patriot, but first of all, I'm a professional, and I'll be happy to work at anywhere, as a country who needs me as a professional. But still, I feel very, I feel bad about what's going on in Ukraine right now. And I'm looking at these unsuccessful attempts of the United States and of the present administration to play an Ukrainian card against Russia, and it's not successful because Ukraine is divided into pro-Russian and anti-Russian equal parts, and it's still, it's not very successful.
Here in America, I think that many of us have no idea what is going on in the Ukraine. We have no idea what really is going on in Russia. I think the media does a really good job at keeping Americans asleep regarding what is really going on overseas. But getting back to patriotism, here in America, I think patriotism comes down to our understanding that our rights come from God, and yet there are so many people in the White House right now and in D.C. who continue to talk about democracy. You see, I don't believe that democracy is freedom. Okay? Democracy is like two wolves having a discussion with a lamb on what's for lunch. Okay? A republic is what was created when this country was founded, and I think we have come a long ways since then. In fact, I think you can find evidence that America really is a fascist nation now. With the collaboration of government and business, we are no longer a republic. It's like freedom is just bleeding away here in America.
I agree with you in part, and I can tell you even more what I think about democracy. Democracy is a bone you throw to the people to choke them to death. That's the first thing. And the second, I think there are no
that's
more...
what's happening in Libya now, right? We continue to hear in the Middle East and in places like Libya, people who say, we want freedom, we want democracy, we want freedom, we want democracy, and maybe they don't understand what democracy really is.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit. We will just jump a little bit, but anyway, we're going to get back to American national security, but while it's very live conversation and I like it very much, we can jump a little bit.
We're about 5 minutes away from our commercial break. Let's go back to, did you ever think, being a patriot in the Ukraine, that you would find yourself coming to America?
Yes. You know what? It's okay. I'll try to explain you in a few words the machine, the espionage machine. You work, say, in Israel or in Germany or in Ukraine, doesn't matter, and you work in an American department, and you always think there's a possibility that one day you're going to go to America undercover as embassy, like embassy technical secretary or something, or a reporter, businessman, or you can go to America as illegal spy. There's always possibility. You work over there, overseas, and then you come to America, like illegal spy or undercover. So it was not excluded at all. Of course, I was thinking about this, that someday the situation might demand me to go to America. Yeah. But talking about Libya, just to finish up, it's a very important question, and it's closely connected to Obama's politics. But you say you're going to have a commercial break?
Yeah, we're about 4 minutes away from that. Go ahead.
Okay. If it's about Libya, let's talk about a couple of words. You know, we have to talk first about Obama. And what I see in his behavior, I see a huge signs that Obama is working. It could be, could sound fantastic for most Americans, but he might work for Russians. Because what I see in his behavior and mostly in his actions is determination of America and pro-Russian politics. Talking about Libya, there are three centers of power who are ready to fight for redistribution of global spheres of political and economic interests most. USA, Russia, and China. The problem is, if you look at what's going on, all these chain revolutions, or domino principle, as I call it, it is a huge political strategy. Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, and Syria. The problem is Russia is mostly interested in this revolution because Russia wants to redirect the radical Islam vector from Russia to the United States. Right now, why America is in Afghanistan? Because through Afghanistan, radical Islam might go through Muslim Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Kazakhstan, former Soviet republics, to Russian republics, Tatarstan and Chechnya, constituent republics of Russian Federation. So it's a huge strategy. And I can tell you and I can tell Americans that not American government and not CIA, Russian intelligence, which is SVR, is standing behind all these revolutions. Russia wants to redirect radical Islam to the United States. Radical Islam gonna come to power in these countries, in Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, and Syria. That's the first huge strategy. Second huge strategy, to direct radical Islam and prepare the whole chain of countries, including Iran, Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Palestine, and Syria, to a huge war against Israel. Look at the map, what's going on, and you will see right now. Chain strategy or domino strategy is, it's not important where revolution starts, where revolutions end. Like we saw this revolution since January this year. The most important, which country is the target country? Target country is United States and Israel. Libya is very important too, because Libya is a big oil. So that's a few words about Libya.
I'm thinking, Mike, that down the road, you and I should probably maintain contact here, that because of your intelligence connections, there are probably things that you are observing uniquely to you, uniquely to your background. Again, we have about a minute before we go into commercial break.
Yeah.
When you were over there in the Ukraine, did you ever take a look at America and think that, were we your enemy? Or did you ever think that, boy, over there in America, they are free, I would love to do that someday?
Actually, the Soviet people, the nation, they never thought about American people as enemies. But American government and American big business, yes, the Soviet propaganda was telling this all the time. American big business and American government and American policy is total anti-Soviet. Get ready for a huge future war. And actually, so that's why Soviets were spending huge money on military. So no, so we people, we never saw American people as enemies, never. and we actually we like them. But the thing is, there was a very interesting fact when Andropov was at power, for a very, very few years, like 2 years, 1983, 1984, he ordered Rocky, Rocky movie with Stallone?
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, man, the movie when he was fighting a Russian boxer.
Yep.
And this Russian boxer was, just a character, animal, a dog. And he was like, he was a representative of the whole Russian nation. And Andropov, who was the leader of the Soviet Union, asked Hollywood producers to sell this movie. It doesn't matter, $1 million, billion, trillion. We're gonna buy this movie. And Hollywood asked why. And Andropov said, we're gonna show Soviet people how you and what America thinks about us, animals. And you know what? Hollywood said, no, we will never sell you this movie, even for $1 trillion. That was a fact.
So I
it was
think
not
that
about
from Hollywood, as well as from the press here in America, there's a lot of misinformation that is being distributed. And in America, there are so many people here who really don't have a firm grip on what the truth is, like many Americans now who believe that, in fact, freedom is democracy. It's like we have lost our way here in America.
Yeah, I agree. And there's one more fact, because, I always talk like national security professional. There is, a silent agreement. Maybe not many Americans know about that. There is a silent agreement between big show business in America and FBI. Maybe you don't know about that too. You don't touch us, we don't touch you. Every day you can read about, for example, Whitney Houston. So she was taking cocaine, right? Once she bought $100,000 cocaine being in Florida, and she bought from whom? People go to jail for nothing, for 1 ounce, for 20 years in New York City. She bought 100,000 worth of cocaine, and nobody even bothered to ask her from where, from whom. That's why, Hollywood is a very separate stuff. If you see the movies, the FBI guys are always, 99% they are good. And the police even also is not very bad. But in fact, that's what we are talking about, democracy. In fact, they are bad. Because what we see here, it's not a democracy. And
Michael, we're about to go into commercial break. It is now 32 minutes after the hour. This is the Morning Liberty Program. I'm R.J. Hender here at the Micro... We are back. This is the Morning Liberty Program. And the other radio networks that carry our program. I hope you have enjoyed the conversation so far. With me this morning is Mikhail. He was born in the Ukraine. He became a KGB agent. He also worked for the CIA at one point. In fact, there is a report that will be up on my website, morningliberty.com, a little later today. In fact, Mikhail says that there are no more Democrats or Republicans in America. There are only patriots and communists. And this Mikhail, my guest, helped Bill Clinton become president, a communist president in America. And he also helped Obama to become president here in America. Many of us know that we must pay attention not to what they say, but what they do. And as I hear Mikhail share his intel today, I have so many questions, and I'm thinking it's clear that we will have to have him back as we continue to benefit from his life experience and his intel. And we see the handwriting on the wall that America has officially become a fascist nation. Many of us who have been paying attention realize that Islam is going to continue to grow here in America, and in fact it may become a real problem here in the States. One of the things that we've been paying attention to is that there are people in the CIA who are news anchors for many of the news stations that most Americans pay attention to. NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, CNN, and on and on. So in America, most of the time we don't even get the truth. Most of the time we have to go to the Internet for programs just like this, The Micro Effect, in order to get a hold of the truth, and more Americans are doing just that. Mikhail, thanks for joining us today.
Okay. So you asked me a question.
Mikhail, is it okay if we bring in a caller and then we'll continue?
Sure.
Let's talk with John from Maine. John, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, RJ. Thanks for allowing the call. Mikhail, what you're saying is not surprising or shocking to me because I figured as much out a long time ago. What I hope that you will do is, realizing the situation as it is, offer up suggestions on how we can get out of this mess that we are in and get our country back. And with that, I'll let you folks get back to an excellent show. Thank you.
John, thank you very much for the suggestion. Mikhail, go ahead.
Thank you, John, for the question. I'll try to answer it a little bit later. Thanks a lot. So there was a question about me becoming a whistleblower, and this is something I could, like you said, Michael. Could you imagine that you're gonna go to America and got into your next step here and whatever? Yes, I could imagine, but I could never imagine that I could become here a whistleblower. Because after I wrote the letter in 2000, I wrote official letter to President Clinton and George Tenet, who was CIA director at the time. I wrote the letter saying that I stopped cooperation because it's impossible. It's a conspiracy, and I'm not gonna be involved in this anymore. In return, CIA tried to press me very hard. They searched my apartment. They were taking pictures in my face in the streets of New York. They stole my notebook, and most important, I could not get the job because I could not renew as an immigrant. I had employment authorization. I could not renew it. Since now, I cannot get American citizenship, and it's all CIA pressure. I tried to fight back. First, I tried to open the eyes at the top of American politics. I tried to connect to people. And I wrote 3 months before 9/11 tragedy happened. I have my own view what happened 9/11, which we talked at the time. So 3 months before 9/11 tragedy happened, in June 2001, I warned George W. Bush, American president, and Senator Hillary Clinton on CIA anti-American, CIA and FBI anti-American conspiracy, national security collapse, and my personal situation. Hillary Clinton, I had 2 letters from her. She actually promised help, but she actually refused to mess with CIA. And I'm a big sinner. I'm maybe a bad guy, but I had no choice. I had to blackmail her. I called her office and reminded her through director of the office, Luz Mendes, that I helped her husband, Bill Clinton, to win a re-election. And probably I saved his life, refusing to work for CIA. Hillary Clinton was actually scared to death, and they answered me only in a year, promising help for my family. The White House, I have a letter from George Bush. The White House sent a request to the Department of Justice, where FBI Director Mueller, who else, blocked because there was a joint CIA-FBI project with Senator now, the Senator of New York is Chuck Schumer, one of two. Senator Chuck Schumer's office explained to me that American national security is not Senator's business. I want to remind you, Senator Chuck Schumer is a Democrat. Next,
what you really mean to say, according to your report, Mike, is that he is a communist.
Yes, that's 100%. If somebody says that American national security is not his business, what is his business? Maybe destroying American national security is his business. Next was the United States closer to this year's, to 2010. Next was the United States Office of Special Counsel Patrick Fitzgerald. You remember maybe Ken Starr was dependent counsel before. Now it's special counsel. He brought Clinton, he brought Clinton to impeachment. So I addressed this office of independent special counsel, Patrick Fitzgerald, and they told me they accepted my fact, and they told me even if it's true, even if CIA is involved, and namely the last CIA director, Mr. Panett, is involved in CIA FBI conspiracy, right? This activity is not something that falls within the prohibition of the Hedge Act. Hedge Act prohibits government employees from engaging in political activity while on duty. So, actually, United States Office of Special Counsel admitted the truth, but they refused to investigate. They told me, therefore, we are closing the above reference file. Same answer I got from New York City Commissioner. Right. This is a story of my whistleblowing, and we can see that the whole set, CIA director since 1995, John Day, George Tenet, Porter Goss, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, were involved in this conspiracy because this pressure does not stop. So my discussion with you right now on this radio, I think it might be a successful step in protecting American national security and bringing the truth to American people and the government. So,
well, Mikhail, let me ask you a question or two here. Have you ever done a radio program before?
No, in America not. I mean,
okay.
At American station, I never talked to American stations.
So this is your first radio interview here.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you taking the time with us. My hope is, Mikhail, that you can join me again to share more of your intel. Next, I think it matters where somebody was born. So since Obama, in fact, was born in Kenya, I believe he will always have a love of Kenya. And because his parents, in fact, were communists, then that's also a part of his first love. So let me ask you then, if you were born there in the Ukraine, is your first love to the Ukraine? And now that you are in America, do you have a love yet for this country?
Yes, of course I have connections to my country, Ukraine. But, the question about America is not a simple question. America is a very special country. To say, I love this country or, I enjoy my life here, it's a very special, and whatever people say, mostly is not true. America is a country for immigrants, built by immigrants, for immigrants. At the same time, American Constitution says you're an immigrant, you have no right to be elected to the Oval Office, right? Right. Then, America is a special country because until maybe 1980, it was considered a melting pot for immigrants. it is not a melting pot anymore. American political science came to conclusion, most science came to conclusion, that it's a multi-pieces blanket of communities which are very independent, which do not communicate between each other, and which communicate mostly with the government if they need the government. You understand? And
I do. In fact, an example, I think, of what you're saying is, in America, there's more than 900 tribes of American Indians, okay? Now, many of these, right, are related to one degree or another. Many of these American Indian tribes, they marry one another. And really, in my opinion, if they came together, the American Indians in this country would be a force to be reckoned with, okay? Also, as far as American Indians are concerned, the Bureau of Indian Affairs has a huge hand in illegal, in an unmoral hand in the affairs of the American Indians. But I'm thinking it's just an example. I'm thinking instead of being 900 tribes of American Indians, if there in fact was one tribe, wow, how powerful they could be in politics, in finances, for their own welfare here in the country, and for the welfare of the rest of us. But they are divided by such small issues. And I see, depending upon what part of the country, America, you go to, you'll find a different brand of Americans in Texas and in Arkansas and in Florida and Chicago and New Jersey, Maine, right? Then in Washington, in North Dakota, South Dakota, in I don't know if I said Texas yet, in California. We have so many different expressions of what an American is. And my hope is, Mike, and I guess this is a question somewhere down deep inside of who we are, we care about our freedom. We care that we have a right to travel. We have a right to choose what church we go to. We have a right to choose who our spouse is. We have a right to choose our education. We have a right to choose our vocation. And these rights don't come from the KGB. These rights don't come from the CIA or a president. These rights in America come from God. What's your take?
Absolutely. I agree with you. So that's why, but I want to add that the diversity is the right word when you talk about America. That's why America is very comfortable. And a lot of freedoms you were talking about is extremely important too. And for immigrants, it's important too. They don't talk about this much, but I'm going to tell you.
Well, I'm thinking those are the reasons why immigrants continue to come to America.
Yeah, because peace is very important. America is overseas. America does not have a military threat. America is a pretty peaceful country. The communities, they do not fight between each other. They just care about each other. That's true. Like Chinese don't care about Indians. Indians don't care about Hasidic Jews or whatever. But it's a very peaceful country. People like this peace, quiet,
it's like
environment.
we coexist peaceably, and there are other countries in Europe, right, and in Asia, that those kinds of differences, cause wars between people.
Yeah, but in America, it's different because people, we come to a very important issue too. People mostly come here to make money. And I live in New York City. There's a huge Jewish community. And, I have Jewish roots myself. I have Polish roots, Russian, and Jewish roots myself. And I can talk about this very freely and open. A lot of Jews, they tell, we come here to, freedom of religion is very important, go to synagogue, whatever. But no, and one more time, no. Most people come here to make money. That's why people avoid these clashes, the misunderstanding between the community, to say nothing about war and revolution. People don't want this. People want to make business, make money, have decent life. Make American dream fulfilled. Private house, good education for kids, $1 million in the bank. That's important. That's why America is peaceful. But
so you're saying that opportunity does still exist in America, and that is bringing many people still from other countries here.
Yeah, opportunity still exists, but we have to touch. I'm going to talk about Obama right now, but we have to touch a very important issue. How one of the very, very extremely dangerous things he wants to do after
let's get to Obama, but not yet. Let me finish this. Since you have been in America since '95, have you found yet somewhere down inside your heart, somewhere down inside your soul, even though as a communist you used to fight against America, do you find yet a love for this country? Do you believe that you may spend the rest of your years here?
What I think is very good. I walk down the street, New York City, and I see so many churches. Doesn't matter, it's a mosque or it's a synagogue, it's Orthodox church, and I saw people going to services, and I saw smiles on their faces, and I see Jehovah's Witnesses coming to my house, not my house, the place I live. It's not my house. So, and talking very openly, and I love this a lot, because I couldn't say that I'm a big Christian, but I believe in God, and it's very important. This freedom of religion is extremely important for me, and I think love for the country and love for people comes through love of God. And God wants us to help each other, maybe more than just to help ourselves. And I love this. That's true, because if you say love the country is a very broad notion. If you tell me if I love the government, no. If you ask me if I love police, no, because it's extremely rude and it's all fake. All this New York City, police cars, which this signs on each car. You see professionalism, respect. There's no professionalism and no respect. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
Well, right now, here's an example as we take a look at what Obama does, not what he says, but what he does. It's clear, in my opinion, that Obama, in fact, does not love America. It's clear that Bill Clinton does not love America.
Yeah, we can talk about this. Just a few words, because we were talking about KGB and Obama.
Well, I was asking if you have a great yearning, a great love for the Ukraine, and do you think you're going to go back there someday and settle down, maybe jump into the KGB again, or have you set all of that aside? Do you plan on staying here? I mean, is there somewhere down in your soul yet a love for this country?
Yes, I can tell you one thing, which is important for me. I have huge sympathy for the people of America, because they are completely unprotected, and 9/11 showed this. And another catastrophe, terrorist act. I'm not talking about economy. But another terrorist act or something horrible. It's a miracle that America still does not have it. You understand? That's why what I am going to try to do something about American national security. Which probably might be create American national security system, special book which does not exist. American national security system does not exist. Most important, Obama is doing everything to destroy whatever remains after national security in America. That's what I'd love to do
Mike,
here.
Have you ever heard of something called Skull and Bones?
No.
there's an organization, a part of the Illuminati, right? Part of the Bilderbergs and connected with the CFR.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Yeah.
That Obama, in fact, has a nickname from them, okay? They call Obama the Undertaker. And so you take a look at what Obama is doing and the change that he promised he would put in place in America. And what's clear is he is doing his best to help dismantle this country.
Yeah. So, but still, let's a few words about who he is. And, or you want me, I can tell you what he's doing to destroy America.
I know we're about 2 minutes or 3 minutes away from our next commercial break, and I wanted to finish this, Mikhail. I'd like to come to grips with how you see America. Do you think that you may spend the rest of your life here and find a new love in this country, or do you think you yearn to go back to the Ukraine?
No, I don't think I'm gonna go back. There are a couple of variants. That I might be, I'm still, I'm not sure what CIA is planning to do, because there is another part, we can talk about this maybe later, that actually they want me, CIA wants me back. FBI wants me back. Most surprising, United States Secret Service wants me back.
Do you think that you may risk your life in order to convey some of the intel that you have been publishing?
It's not about conveying. Like I said, if it's about national security, I'd like to do something to protect America, because, to tell you the truth, nobody's doing this. American intelligence community is a fake. CIA does not exist. FBI is involved, anti-American conspiracy. Who is protecting America? I'm not saying I'm somebody huge and big, but if somebody, maybe somebody reads my book, it's not advertising, no way. White House Special Handbook, and if I could do this job, create American national security, I think that most important thing for me right now to protect America and help these people. And of course, I want CIA to be terminated, because it's a criminal organization. And I'd like to work for American national security to do something about it, because you have to create this from ground zero.
Well, I'm thinking as I take a look at the CIA and people I have interviewed about them, is within the CIA we have people who are the friends of America, and we have people there who are enemies to America. It's clear, in fact, that the CIA, they are helping to funnel drugs into America. It's like CIA now is in charge of bringing drugs to this country, and they get to determine who gets to profit in that enterprise.
Yes, there are different views on this, that America, for example, America brought cocaine to come down the black community of the United States. There's a view like this, too. But there are strong evidence that, yes, CIA was involved in this operation. But I don't think you're going to find many friends besides CIA, because right now a lot of people are not happy with the money they got, CIA. And these guys, they are not patriots, because they leave CIA. If they find something better in private business, they leave CIA right away. So we're not going to talk about good guys and patriots inside this organization, because what I know, a huge part of the agents are chronic alcoholics. Yeah, that's true, too. Now,
as we watch what does happen in Washington, D.C., what is clear to many of us is the people who work there really work for themselves. They don't work for America. They work for themselves, which I think follows the point you just made about people who now are in the CIA. It's about the money. They want more money. Right?
Yes, that's a tragedy. That's a tragedy. We don't have patriots inside there, unlike Pentagon. What's my idea? My idea to terminate CIA and to reform FBI completely, and The functions of political intelligence have to be transferred to Pentagon, to Patriot, our military, you know. That is my idea. We have to put a big red cross on the Central Intelligence Agency.
Well, I'm thinking if you take a look at what the CIA does and the involvement of George Bush Sr., that America's military has in fact become a mercenary army under the direction of the CIA. In fact, you could probably find reason to justify why American troops are in Afghanistan, and it has to do with the drug trade.
Like I said before, I can tell you what was one of the purposes to bring American troops to Afghanistan. First,
we'll go there. We will go there after the breaks, Mike, so
right.
Hang on. And we'll get into the discussion about Obama.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back after the break. This is the Morning Liberty Program. I'm R.J. Hender. With us today is Mikhail. The time currently is 34 minutes after the hour. I hope you have enjoyed the discussion today. I will do my best to have Mikhail, a former KGB agent, join us again. By the way, my wife, our family, they are Cherokee Indian. My family came here to America in 1620 on the Mayflower. 3 of my family lines on the Mayflower and intermarried. In fact, my mother's mother was a descendant from the American Indians who were here. Okay? So my family has been here, so I'm thinking, 300, 400 years? My wife, her family has been here, 1,000 years? 1,500 years? 2,000 years? And on? And it's an easy question, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. I think we're getting there. It's clear, in comparison, Obama was born in Kenya to communists, and if we take a look at his activity, not what he says, but what he does, then it's clear that he is doing his best to dismantle this country. I have had other interviews where we had covered this intel, that there were specific meetings in Moscow by people who did know that they were grooming Obama 20 years and before then, before he became the president. And there are some people who say, well, how can you do that? How can you groom somebody become the president 20 years ahead of time or 25 years ahead of time? And this weekend, when I had a chance to take a look at this article, it came from Mikhail, again, a former KGB officer, I saw signs that this man's word might be trusted. And so I've been doing my best so far to get to the bottom of what his intention is, what his real love is. And I'm thinking that Mikhail will always love his homeland in the Ukraine. But my question has continued as, does he love America yet? And Mike, I believe that you do.
Like I said, right now, what I feel, I feel a kind of obligation before American people to do something to protect them first, and then I see a lot of freedom if it's about religion, church, and I like it a lot. But the question, if you ask a 10-year-old kid who just came to America, do you like it? Yes, of course. Listen, McDonald's, Brighton Beach in New York, Disney, whatever, sunshine, ocean, I love it. It's one thing, but when you have somebody who has 30 years of espionage experience, and maybe, not talking much about myself, but maybe number one at KGB and maybe good one in international espionage, it's a little bit different. Especially if we talk to somebody who is a professional, because job is most important. Then comes the rest. But I like America.
I see here in your bio that you have had 30 years of international espionage experience, and I'm thinking it might be difficult just to set that aside. it may always be a part of who you are. And I think it's important for our audience to understand your true love of freedom. And I think in your comments before the break, in how you feel sympathy for Americans, and I think that there are many Americans who find it very difficult to believe that there were Americans who helped to plan and fund and then implement the attack on the World Trade Center on 9/11, right? And here we are now facing the 10th year anniversary of that event, and yet there are still many Americans who still don't believe that there were insiders who helped to plan and fund and then implement and now hide that intelligence.
You know, the thing is, there's one small detail. If we talk about 9/11, the commission on 9/11, this commission tried to get. I saw the report. I read it. They tried to get CIA papers on this terrorist act, and you know what? They were allowed to read some things, some papers. They were not allowed to make copies and to take the papers out of CIA office. You can imagine this? CIA was telling the government what to do and what not to do about this investigation. And of course, investigation was a joke. I have my own idea what happened with 9/11, and they know the most important thing. We can talk a lot about collapse of the third skyscraper, or what's the number 7 building, but the thing is, you cannot fly you cannot fly. The jets cannot fly the space without every minute control from dispatchers on Earth. They cannot, because there are different situations up there, and you have to get the newest information almost every minute, what is going on. So, of course, somebody was working down. It was not like they were completely disconnected. Let me talk a little bit about Obama and get back to this. How we can
I know that you and me, we have about 15 minutes left this morning.
Okay, I'm going to do
there are
that.
several directions I would like us to go in our conversation.
Okay, I'm doing
and
that.
It's clear to me that we're going to run out of time, and we need to come back together. So as we go the direction of having a discussion about Obama, let me ask you about Brzezinski. It seems to me that Brzezinski and Kissinger pull the strings very much in this White House. What's your take?
Kissinger, you know what? Kissinger is the enemy. The enemy of Russia, yes. He wants to play the Soviet Union collapse card. He's always advising Russians, give independence to small republics inside Russia. Give independence to governors. Give independence.
So maybe Kissinger is the enemy of Russia and the enemy of America.
Kissinger is a very special guy. Because if we talk about Kissinger, we have to talk about Bilderberg Group. If you see at the list of this group, let's not talk about, this global conspiracy, whatever, but this group is really very important. If you see at the list of the people who attend these annual meetings, the people change. But there is one person who is always there, every year. Who? Kissinger. So it's not a very simple guy. It's a powerful guy, and I can tell you one more thing. This guy, almost, not every year, but every 2 years, he goes to Russia. And he talks to Russian leader Putin. About what? Nobody knows. You understand what I mean?
I do.
So, most probably, this one of the guys for sure who is the enemy of America. Now the guy, and Brzezinski, I told you about him. Talking about Obama.
I'm
we're
thinking
not going to talk
Brzezinski
about...
is an enemy of America, and
Yes.
he probably dictates what happens in the White House.
Yeah, Obama?
Brzezinski.
I wouldn't talk about this. I wouldn't say this because if we talk about the White House, I think a very strong personality in the White House right now is Hillary Clinton. And how she got into the White House, it's a special topic. How Bill Clinton how he blackmailed Obama to push Hillary Clinton into Obama's team. It is a very...
Yes.
What he said to Obama. And maybe
it's clear that Hillary Clinton is a communist. Okay? And I'm thinking Hillary had the goods on Obama. Hillary had evidence that Obama was born in Kenya, and she was ready to go public with that intel. And you're saying that Bill Clinton then used that intel against Obama.
Yes, of course, because it was a pure blackmail. And now, look, Obama, they blackmailed him so bad. You know what, we have to, maybe next time we can talk about Hillary a little bit more, what she's doing in the White House. But the thing is, Bill Clinton, right after Obama was elected in November, they had a meeting, 2 hours meeting in New York City, and Bill Clinton blackmailed him so bad that Obama took the whole Clinton team. He appointed Hillary as the Secretary of State, Rahm Emanuel, which was chief political advisor, Clinton's advisor. He appointed him person number 2 in the White House, which is the chief of staff, and he appointed Panetta, CIA director, and he promoted Panetta, which is unbelievable. 100% Clinton's mafia or clan, if you want. Guy, he promoted him to defense secretary. So these 2 people, they actually rule the White House. Defense secretary and the Secretary of State. But talking about Obama, because we don't have much time, so we have to talk about birth certificate controversy, which is extremely important.
Right now we've got about 10 or 11 minutes, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay. So now I want to talk to finish about what Obama is doing to destroy America, if you allow me. There are 6 most important points which American people don't know or do not pay attention. First, Obama is the evidence that Obama is working for somebody else, most probably for Russians, judging from his first and most important birth controversy, which is a huge sign that it was an operation of Russian intelligence, illegal intelligence department. So, what he's doing right, he's destroying the United States, and it's called socialist intervention into the U.S. economy. A person who wants to spend $1 trillion in the middle of horrible economic crisis, who wants to spend $1 trillion in the middle of in the situation of a huge, horrible national debt, who wants to speak $1 trillion on health care reform, which is not a priority at all, this person is either an idiot or the enemy with a very well-calculated plan.
Well, Obamacare, right, if you take a look at it, the majority, more than 2,000 pages in that thing, the majority of that thing is not about health care.
First, it's very complicated. I tried to look through it, but it has so many, numbers and so many, links to something else which you don't know. We have to go to another laws and books. It's completely, a mess. That's what I think. But the problem is, the person who wants to take $1 trillion in this situation is either an idiot or the enemy. Obama is not idiot. He is the enemy. Then, which is important, rising unemployment, inflation, budget deficit at all levels, federal and state, local levels, means that Obama is pushing big states like Texas, for example, to a boiling point. And it means independence. And this means the death of America. Next, Obama's immigration reform, which is
I think. Hang on. You mentioned here the total collapse of America by 2016, and although you have, like pinning the tail on the donkey, targeted 2016, I think it could occur as soon as next year.
No, not next year. You know why? Because number 3, that's what I'm talking right now. Socialist intervention into American society. You know what is that? Immigration reform. Obama wants to turn 12 million of poor, illegal, poorly educated Latinos into United States citizens, which are the whole army of revolutionaries. In 2012, gonna get green cards. By 2016, they're gonna bring here 50 million at least of their relatives. Sisters, brothers, fathers, mothers, spouses, grandmothers, grandfathers. And this is going to be the death of America. 50 million immigrants. That's what I'm talking about. Next, the pure national security issue. Bill Clinton saved one traitor, which was CIA Director John Day, who actually ordered to recruit. It's a very special. We don't have time to talk about John Day. Obama saved 10 Russian illegal immigrants last year. Illegal spies who were arrested last year. And it was a severe blow to American national security. Why? Because one of these 10 illegal spies, Obama ordered to exchange them for CIA assets arrested in Russia, 4 guys, which were garbage. So the problem is, one of these 10 illegal spies, Cynthia Murphy, Russian woman who was playing for an American citizen, she was a business partner to Alan Patrikov, who was #1 sponsor of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. So why Russian intelligence was looking to some connection or to some links to Hillary Clinton? This is the question. And why State Department made a statement right away. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was not a principal target of Russian intelligence. This is a very important question, what's going on. Because now we're going to have a communist #2. And if Obama steps down, for example, next year, because some people told me that Democratic Party, very unsure whether they're going to support Obama. Doesn't matter, he starts the election campaign.
Well, I'm thinking if we take a look at these Republicans now running to become the president, any one of them could accomplish the same kind of work that Obama has been doing. I'm thinking if you take a look at Rick Perry, if we take a look at Mitt Romney, these guys, well polished, but I'm thinking they would do this, probably the very same work that Obama has been doing.
Not really. They're not gonna do. They're gonna stop Obamacare right away. They're not gonna do immigration reform, and they're not gonna help Russians to get their spies back without any investigation at all. And I'm sure they're not gonna introduce 1, 2, or more trillion projects in the middle of this horrible crisis. No. That's why, what he's doing is a pure damage to America, right?
Well, you mentioned earlier on in our discussion today that one of the main objectives of this Obama is to redirect radical Islam to America.
Absolutely. You know why? Because there's a straight and clear connection. These revolutions, Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, now they want to do Syria, and of course Iran maybe not, but Iran is still radical. It's all about radical Islam, and so this all it's a huge chain look at the map. It's a chain of countries almost around Israel. So, if there is a big war, America could push Israel to attack Iran. And all these countries are absolutely sure the radical Islam going to come to Libya too. All these countries, they're going to might start a big war with Israel. America, of course, going to support Israel right away. America going to fight them on Israel's side. And this fact going to redirect the radical Islam to America. Israel, of course, and America. Most important for Russia, this vector of radical Islam going to be redirected from Russia to America. On top of it, you asked me why we came to Afghanistan, and I told you why we came to Afghanistan. We came to Afghanistan because 9/11 was the sign that radical Islam wants to destroy America, and America needs to redirect radical Islam to somebody else, which is Russia. Besides, the drugs, heroin mostly, come to Russia, and we call it narcotization of the country. That's why we came to Afghanistan. And that's why Obama, who is working, he is very interested in this revolution, Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Syria, so on, to redirect this danger from Russia. You understand what I'm talking about?
Well, what I do here, Mikhail, is I bring people to these microphones, many of which have never done radio before, people who have really good intel. And I love how when you bring your intel to the discussion, how you corroborate other evidence that has already come. There was an interview I did about 14 months ago, a guy, in fact, who went to Moscow, and he listened in on a conversation. He was there in the room, and there was a discussion there in Moscow about how they had been grooming Obama to become the president. And now today, right, unrelated, you don't even know the name of the people that I have interviewed on this before, okay? You were saying that, in fact, Obama works for Russia, right? Obama works for Russian communists. Go ahead.
I heard about the story, but I'm not ready because I know that this story is being developed. I think we're going to hear more about this story. That's why I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not ready to talk about this right.
Well,
but I know what
America,
you're talking about.
most radio stations, Mikhail, would not allow you to have this discussion. Most television networks would not allow you and me to have this discussion about Obama or many of the issues we have covered already this morning. In fact, we've got about a minute left. My hope is, Mikhail, that you will join us again.
Yeah. All right.
And I will have my people get a hold of your people, and we'll come together and share more of this intel. You mentioned we need to cover carefully why Hillary is in the White House, right? What is she up to?
That's true. I hope, you're right. The other radio stations, TV stations, newspapers, big media like Daily News, New York Times, they won't allow me to talk, but you allowed me to talk, and most important, God allowed me to talk today, right?
I believe so. I believe the Creator has called me to this, and apparently you feel the same way, that the Creator, does God direct your life, Mikhail?
Yeah, because mostly we talk about security of American people, and it's a good thing to do.
My hope, Mikhail, is that you may also take a look at the intel that I sent to you, and we should come together and have that discussion another time. My hope is, Mikhail, that we can come together again on the air in the next week or two, so we will make that contact and pursue it, okay?
Sure. No problem. Thank you, and I thank America for listening to me, and I thank for the question. John from Maine asked me. Unfortunately, I couldn't answer because of a lack of time.
I'm going to spell your last name one more time. Kryzhanovsky.
Right.
And this recent report that Mikhail came out with, it's KGB operation Barack Obama. Okay, that the KGB and the CIA are now in charge of who becomes the president. So